I would say a couple of things about this. Number one, it's not just what my response is to the question, but what are the variables that I take into consideration as I do. The first thing I would say is that when I was as an undergrad, I think I would have been concerned about things like, am I studying something, and am I considering becoming something that is going to make my life meaningful? Now, granted, I'm not really even quite sure that I knew what that was going to mean at the time, but I thought that there would be something out there called meaning that I would find if I was only able to figure out what the right thing was. The second thing I would say is that I also was aware that I wouldn't have known this at the time, but looking back on it, I would say that I was pretty alone in trying to figure out the answer to that question. Meaning, I can talk to mentors, I can talk to people who give me advice, but at the end of the day, I was still convinced that it was really solely up to me to figure that out and to discern that. And so it wasn't just a matter of how am I going to make the right choices in order for me to find what meaning is going to be and what success is going to look like. It was also a matter of being fairly convinced, without knowing that I was convinced of that I was pretty siloed in trying to discern the answer to that question. I would say that what I then anticipated was a meaningful life at some point was going to be a job that I enjoyed, a job that was going to be helpful for other people, a job that didn't get me in jail for anything of that nature, something I could stay out of trouble. But in that sense, there would be this vague sense of I wanted to do something that I felt like was going to be meaningful for me and I was going to be helpful for other people. Beyond that, it's a bit of a crapshoot in terms of what are the different things I might choose to encounter. What I would say that I've discovered since then are a couple things. One is, and this I think comes explicitly as a result of being a Jesus follower, I would say that the sense is that I am not going to figure that out by myself. That's the first thing that I would say, is that I'm not positioned well enough to determine by myself what meaningful life looks like. I actually need other people in my life in order to have a dialogue about what we are doing together to make life meaningful. And I think that gets then to the heart of what I would say success would look like for me. And that is that I have an embarrassment of riches when it comes to relationships with people by whom I am deeply known, deeply loved, despite the fact that they actually know me pretty well. And I would say that not only that, which I would say has been like the marker of what success feels like to me, but it turns out that the work that I do in this field of interpersonal neurobiology would tend to indicate that we as human beings, we who are trying to navigate the world in the minds that we have, actually, in order for us to flourish, really need deep connection with other human beings in order to answer any of these questions. Even the way that we pose them often ends up being a process in which I'm trying to figure out even what are the right questions that I'm supposed to ask. And if I don't have the right questions, then of course I'm not going to get the right answers to those questions. But all of that, I think, is subsumed over time when I see that the value of relationships is the single most important thing that has been instructive for me, and the richness of that, whether it's in my marriage, with my relationship with my adult kids, or my friendships, is crucially important. And so I would say to us here, I was speaking to those in your shoes, I would want to be curious about by whom are you being deeply known, and who are the people that you are deeply knowing, such that the relationships that you're generating are going to be those spaces in which you helpfully answer those questions and will be able to answer them 40 years from now.